Recording in progress. Hare Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Radha Nandanishwara, Radha Nandanishwara, Radha Nandanishwara Sri Radhe. Jaya Jagana, Jaya Jagana, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Gauranidai, 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 Jaya Gauranidai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai, Jai, Jai,
Madan Gopal Prabhuji.
Jai. Hare Krishna. Today we have to face this way because there'll be a presentation, and so we all have to turn around this way. And, Keep funny please.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, funny please.
I'll
Come there. I'll close the door.
I'll come there.
Beforehand, I'll do that.
Thank you, Gopal.
Thank you.
This is nice, Madan. As well.
Hare Krishna. You played well.
Hare Krishna. Oh, it's working.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So before you do that,
Yes.
just I would like to welcome Madan Gopal Prabhu. So in today's fast, complex world, we often wonder how we balance spiritual life, family, and careers. Our speaker today has guided countless families on exactly this journey, showing us how to live Krishna conscious life in practical, joyful ways. We are delighted to welcome Madan Gopal Prabhu, a dedicated servant of Prabhupada, whose Krishna conscious journey began in 1991 at the age of 14, when he joined ISKCON Nairobi. In 1999, he received initiation from His Holiness Satya Swarup Dasa Goswami. I hope I got that right. And has since served in numerous leadership, educational and outreach roles. He currently serves as ISKCON GBC Zonal Supervisor for USA Temples, Co-Director of ISKCON Communication for North America, and Assistant Minister for Fund Development. Professionally, he is an IT Director at a leading firm in United States. He lives in New Jersey with his wife Manasi Ganga Mataji, who is also a dynamic preacher and leader. Having raised a 22-year-old son, I think name is Madhav, I
Madhav.
get to understand, in Krishna conscious environment, they are living example of successfully integrating Krishna conscious and living in this world. Madan Mohan Prabhu is also known for guiding modern devotees, families, and how practically apply scriptural wisdom amidst today's busy lifestyle. Through his deep devotion, relatable insights, and inspiring presentations, he continues to uplift heart and transform lives whenever he speaks. So, with normal ISKCON welcoming, we would like to welcome Madan Gopal Prabhu and Mansi Ganga Mataji with 3 Haribols.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. And thank you all for taking out your valuable time for coming to this satsang gathering. It's a very special occasion of Radhaastami Eve. You know, we have Christmas Eve. Today's Hare Krishna. Radhaastami Eve. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
So we're all very excited about the appearance of Radharani tomorrow. So in anticipation of that, we received a request from the devotees to sing this particular bhajan. So I'm then requesting Hansi Ganga to lead us in this bhajan, a very simple one. Radhe Jai Jai Madhav Daite. That's the name. I hope you can read. Can you read this? One Jai Jai Pashadi?
I didn't know it off by heart.
That's another thing. I've already sung this so many times. So Sunny, I think we're good. Yeah, we're gonna sing. Madan.
Anyone else play?
Go ahead. Okay, you got them done? Got that?
You want to play?
No, you go.
Okay.
Wait, listen for the key. Start the key. Radhe. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite.
Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite.
Gokula Karuni Mandala Mahite.
Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite.
Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. राधा माधव की जय।
Most of the bhajans which we are singing are offering to the Supreme on behalf of Priti Ben Makwana, sister-in-law of Chandrash Prabhu, who is our Sangha member. She departed on 24th of August.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So this is the whole, really this event is to give strength, solace to the Makwana family. So thank you for doing this. This bhajan is very sweet. Says, O Radha. Madhav Dayate means beloved of Madhav. Gokula Taruni. Mandal. Taruni Mandal. You know what is Mandal? Circle. Mandal. Mandal just means a group. A circle. It's like a circle of friends. But what is Taruni? Taruni means young ladies. Gokul Taruni means a circle of young ladies. So, Gokul Tarani Mandala Mahite. Mahite means worshipped. So she's worshipped by the circle of friends who are young ladies in Gokul. So simple, right? So it's Radha Jaya Jaya Madhav Devi. You give pleasure, you're beloved of Madhav, and you worship by the circle of friends who are young ladies in Gokul. Simple meaning. Then it says Damodar Rati Vardhana Veshe. Vesh means what? Yeah, dress, right. Damodar Rati. Rati means what? Rati means affection, love, Rati. Right? Hare Krishna. Like, there's a famous verse, Na utpadiyet ratim, shramayeva kevalam. Rati means the affection and love, attachment. Damodar Rati. She dresses in such a way as to increase Lord Damodar's love and attachment for you. For her. Right? You dress in such a way that Damodar's love increases for you. Hari Nishkuta Vrinda Vipineshe. That, O Queen of Vrindavan, which is a pleasure grove of Lord Hari. Then the next one is Vrishabhanu Dadhi Nava Shashi Lekhe. Shashi means what? Gujarati ma saslu etle so. Rabbit. So, rabbit. The word for rabbit in Sanskrit is shashi. Did you know that? Now you know. But if you look at the moon, it looks like a rabbit in it. Have you seen that? Have you ever noticed there's a rabbit? The moon is also called Shashi. Same word. That's why the moon is called Shashi. Or maybe that's why the rabbit is called Shashi. Shashi means the moon. Saslo. So, you see how easy it is to break this apart, and if you really think about it, it's not that hard. You know most of it, we sing it without thinking about it, but if you really think about it, we actually know many of these words. Vrishabhanu is who we know? The father of Radharani, right? Nava means what? See, you know everything. Nava Shashi Lekhe. The moon, Nava Shashi, it's a brand new, fresh moon that is arising from the ocean of King Vrishabhanu. Lalita Sakhi Guna Ramita Vishakhe. So you're the friend of Lalita Sakhi. You made Vishakha loyal to you because of your wonderful qualities of friendship, kindness, faithfulness to Krishna. And the last one, Karunam. Karuna means? Kindness, mercy, exactly. Yeah. Karunam Kurumai. Kuru means Karu, to do. Kurumai Karun. So we're asking now that please you do this to me. Karuna Karo. Karuna Karo. Sanskrit Karunam Kuru. Same thing. Karunam Kurumai. Please be merciful upon me. Karuna Bharite. Why? Because Bharite means full. Bharelu. See, you know everything. Karuna Bharite. So Karunam Kurumai, Karuna Bharite. Why? Because you're so full of compassion. Please give me some. You see? And the great sages and among the top sadhus are Sanak, Sanatan. So Sanak, Sanatan, Varnita, Charite. Varnita means describe. Varnan Karu. They utter the glories, they sing the glories. So your divine characteristics are sung by great sages like Sanak, Sanatan. So you see how in just a few words it captures so many facets of the glory of Srimati Radharani. But today we'll do one Bhagavatam verse. Okay, so you can repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 This is the 10th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam 30. Chapter 30, verse number 28. You see it?
Yes.
Okay, never mind. Oh, here it is. Let me turn this thing off. Oh, jeez, not working. Okay. Anayaradhito nunam. Anayaradhito nunam. Bhagavan Haririshvara. Bhagavan Haririshvara. Yanno Vihaya Govinda. Yanno Vihaya Govinda. Pritoyam Anayadraha. Pritoyam Anayadraha. Translation. Someone like to read? Who has a loud voice? Prabhu, can you read the English?
Yeah, certainly this particular gopi has perfectly worshipped the all-powerful personality of Godhead, Govinda, since he was so pleased with her that he abandoned the rest of us and brought her to a secluded place.
Thank you. See, I know how to find the right voice somehow. Perfect voice, perfect. It's so beautiful you read. Thank you. Certainly this particular gopi has perfectly worshipped the all-powerful personality of Godhead. There's a context behind this whole story. Let's read the purport. I'll read the purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that the word aradhita, you remember the first word, anayaradhito nunam. So the word aradhita refers to Srimati Radharani. This is explained by our Acharya. So remember, if someone asked you in a quiz, which Acharya explained the Radharani's name in Bhagavatam, it is Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He also wrote a very famous song that we sing every day. Do anyone know what song that is? Every day we sing in the temple. No. You have to go a little earlier than that. That's correct. That's correct. Samsara prayer was written by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Yes, in Sanskrit. So he explains, the sage Sukadeva Goswami has tried with all endeavor to keep her name hidden. She's not mentioned in the entire Bhagavatam by name. Because he tried very hard. I cannot say her name. I will not say. But now it automatically shines forth in a hidden way from the moon of his mouth. That he has spoken her name is indeed her mercy. And thus the word Aradhita is like the rumbling of a kettle drum, sounded to announce her great good fortune. Although the gopis spoke as if jealous of Srimati Radharani, they were actually ecstatic to see that she had captured Sri Krishna. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes the following detailed description of Srimati Radharani's footprints as given by Srila Rupa Goswami in Sri Ujjwal Nilmani. So I'll continue reading the purport. I'll read this a little faster. But meditate on this image. At the base of the large toe of her left foot on this side, okay? On the right side is the left foot, is the mark of a barley corn. Below that is a disc. Below the disc is an umbrella. And below the umbrella is a bracelet. You see the umbrella?
Yeah.
Okay, good. A vertical line extends from the middle of her foot to the juncture of her large and second toes. At the base of the middle toe is a lotus. Below that is a flag with a banner. And below the flag is a creeper, together with a flower. At the base of her small toe is an elephant goat, and upon her heel is a half moon. Thus there are 11 marks on her left foot. At the base of the large toe of her right foot is a conch shell, and below that a spear. At the base of the small toe of her right foot is a sacrificial altar, and below that an earring, and below the earring a club. Along the base of the second, third, and fourth and small toes is the mark of a mountain, below which is a chariot, and on the heel is a fish. Thus altogether there are 19 distinguishing marks on the soles of Srimati Radharani's lotus feet. Srimati Radharani ki! Jai! You can imagine how beautiful those feet are and the impressions they make in the sand as she walks. Because Srimati Radharani doesn't wear shoes in the land of Vrindavan. You know who else does not wear shoes?
Yes.
Krishna. Krishna adamantly refused to wear shoes. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuramritam Brahmana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. So we'll explore today Srimati Radharani a little bit more. But we'll remain loyal to Srila Prabhupada. So stick to what Prabhupada said. We won't go off course. So Prabhupada says in Madhya Lila purport, chapter 8, number 100, the name Radha is derived from this verse, 10:30:28, from the words Anayaradita, meaning by her the Lord is worshipped. You see, what is the word for worship in Sanskrit? Aradhana. You see the word Radha is there. Anayaradita. You've heard the word Aradhana? It's used in Hindi also. Aradhana. So Aradhana means to worship. Yeah. Aradhana means worship. To go against the flow. Like suppose if you're singing in tune, it's called swar. But if you sing against the tune, it's called apaswar. It ruins the tune. It's a sour note. Apaswar. Okay? Apa makes the main thing sour and opposite and bad. Siddhanta means the true conclusion. Apasiddhanta means something that ruins the truth of the conclusion. So Radha means pure worship. See where I'm going with this? Aparadha means something that ruins the worship. Aparadha, the offense. That's where the word aparadha comes from. It also, that comes from Radha. Now you know. You see? He's like, wow. Sunny's like, wow, I didn't know that. It's true. That's what I'm saying. When you look at the Sanskrit, we really meditate on them, the meanings become manifest. Because Sanskrit is magical like that. We use the word aparadha all the time. We use the word Radharani all the time. But when you make aparadha, you're going against Radharani. That's why we do not take aparadha lightly. Of course, if someone does aparadha to us, we don't care about it. But we are careful about not doing aparadha to others. Very careful. Because that means we're going against who? Radharani. She's our main boss. Can't go against her. Okay. Sometimes the critics of Srimad Bhagavatam find it difficult to find Radharani's holy name in that book. But the secret is disclosed here in the word Aradhita, from which the name Radha has come. Of course, the name of Radharani is directly mentioned in other Puranas. That is very clear. But in this one it says, this gopi's worship of Krishna is topmost. Therefore, her name is Radha, or the topmost worshipper. So who spoke the Srimad Bhagavatam? Shukadeva Goswami. You see, Shukadeva Goswami is wearing a 3-piece suit. No, he's not. He's so detached. He's not wearing anything. The only reason he's wearing garland is someone came, just put a garland on him. But I'm going to wear clothes. Don't worry, I keep my clothes on. But Shukadeva Goswami is very detached, and he's speaking to who? Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj was cursed to die in 7 days. 7. Now, 7 days is not that long. And the curriculum of the Bhagavatam is 18,000 verses. It's a lot. Try to read Bhagavatam in 7 days. It's really tight. No time to sleep also. It's question and answer sessions too. It's basically questions and answers. So, if there's only 7 days available, if he had a month, the scene would be slightly different. Because Shukadeva Goswami knew he only has 7 days, he intentionally avoided saying the word Radha. Why? Because he knows the moment he utters Radha directly, first of all, he gets so much ecstasy, he will faint. At least 2-3 days he'll be knocked out. He knew that. And he says, time is limited, so I'm not even going near that. But I have to mention it. There's one special gopi. He talks about gopis all the time. Gopi Gita is there. It says Gopya Ucho, Jayadite Dikam Janmana. So many beautiful verses about gopis in general. He talks about another gopi by name, very famous gopi. Who is that? Yashoda. Mother Yashoda is a gopi too. The elder gopi. So he talks about her, no problem. But with Srimati Radharani, he said, avoid that name. That's why the only time you find it here. But you see, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says, he still can't hold back, so he puts in a code form. He embeds it inside a word. Anayaradito nunam. That's why this verse is so important. What's so special about Shukadev Goswami? Shuka Mukhadam Tad Dharva Samyutam, 3rd verse of Bhagavatam. It says that this fruit of the Vedic literature is condensed into this Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's made even sweeter by the Shuka Mukhad. Shukadev's mukh is his mouth, because it came through his mouth. But the analogy of a fruit, it's said that when there's a perfectly ripened fruit and the parrot's beak touches it, then it's certified that this is the sweetest fruit. That's why even if you go by, like you're picking fruit from a tree and you see this one's picked by a parrot, that's the one you're going to go for. That's going to be the best one. It's certified. So Shuka Mukhad. Shukadev Goswami is literally Srimati Radharani's parrot in the spiritual world. Shuka means parrot. Amazing. Green color. Green color. તમે પણ green પહેરી છે. આપણે વાત થઈ હતી ને સવારના એટલે. No, we didn't coordinate. It just happens. Shukadev Goswami is a green parrot. કલરનું નામ છે પોપટી. Popati color again, Popat Jo, India. So, he's a popat. Any poppers here?
Aye.
Are poppers? There is certain poppers. Hare Krishna. So we got all kinds. Parrot, very special parrot, Shukadeva Goswami. Srimati Radharani used to have him on her hand and play with him like this. And say, Bolo Krishna, and he would say, Krishna, 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 Bolo, Bolo. And so she would make him say Krishna's name. But if he said Radha's name, he would faint. So you can see the intimate reason why Radha's name is not mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Shukadeva Goswami ki jai. Srila Prabhupada explains the essence. Lord Krishna, the enemy of Kansa, left aside the other gopis during the rasa dance and took Srimati Radharani to his heart, for she is the helper of the Lord in realizing the essence of his desires. Essence. Because Srimati Radharani is the female counterpart of the Lord. She's his heart. Like you can see his heart but come out in human form. It's like that. They're one soul. So it's very hard to understand how close they are. But she's the essence. That's why she's called Antaranga Shakti. She's the internal energy. That's the best we can do with English language. Okay. So tomorrow we celebrate what? What did it say? Janmashtami. Is that a typo? That's a typo. No, it's not a typo. It's actually Radhaastami. But for us it's Janmashtami. Janma means birth. Janmashtami doesn't necessarily mean Krishna's birth. For us, our Janmashtami is Radhaastami. Yes. But we don't have to make pizzas for 100,000 people. It's a very intimate Janmashtami. Why? Because Janma means birth and it's Ashtami. So Radhaastami is our Janmashtami. In Vrindavan, the devotees give more importance to Radharani than to Krishna. Don't you see? If you have been to Vrindavan, like, why Krishna must be feeling so left out. Everywhere is a Shri Radha, Hey Radhe. And devotees they greet each other, Radhe, Radhe. Krishna is guno karir. Why is Krishna being left out? So in Vrindavan they don't say Krishna, Krishna, they say Radhe, Radhe. On the trees they say they paint Jai Shri Radhe. Of course they all love Krishna too. Srimati's Radharani, her identity is difficult to understand. But let's step back and ask ourselves ISKCON. Okay, let's talk about ISKCON. Right? What is ISKCON all about? I want it in one word. Just shout it out. Yes.
Krishna, consciousness.
Yeah, one word. She says Krishna. Anybody else?
Love.
Love?
Yeah, love.
Love? Anyone else? What's ISKCON? What's the main point of ISKCON?
Gopi.
Consciousness? What else?
Gopi.
Huh?
Gopi's love.
Gopi. Yes. Anyone else? Devotion? Yes. These are all good answers. But the right answer came first. Krishna. That's the answer. International Society for Krishna Consciousness. ISKCON is nothing to do with anything else. The main thing is Krishna, actually. Right? It's all about Krishna. Sometimes we forget that. We think it's about this, about that. But ultimately it's all about Krishna. Becoming his devotee, helping others become devotees, and helping existing devotees become more absorbed in Krishna consciousness. That's all it's about. This is the whole point of Krishna consciousness. These guys are so cute. They're ISKCON members. It looks like the devotees are playing with Nangan just now. So sweet. Because the focus is Krishna. And they're so happy. Now, formlessness, this idea, this formless energy, comes from form. For example, the sunlight comes from the sun. So the root of the existence of sunlight is the sun. The light itself is formless, but the root is form, has a round form. You see? Similarly, the root of all existence, both spirit and matter, both form and formless, the root is the absolute person, the personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. So then, Is God masculine? We see masculine gender forms everywhere, right? See male men, right? Male human beings, see male monkeys, male parrots, but we also see feminine. So is absolute truth feminine? Is it masculine?
He's the only masculine.
Right, but the absolute truth only masculine? That's the question. He is the only masculine, but is absolute truth only masculine? It's both. This is the absolute truth. The absolute truth is both masculine and feminine because these two categories of form, masculine and feminine, have variation in their traits. The embodiment of the absolute truth also demonstrates this same variance in the traits. The supreme male is Krishna, and the supreme feminine embodiment of the absolute truth is Srimati Radharani, the supreme female. Okay? That's why a lot of people who come from the Christian background, other backgrounds, they find this very appealing. Especially ladies, they don't feel left out. Because in those cultures, it's like, God our Father in heaven. Mummy so guna kare. Dekha tha na?
Radha Krishna ek tanu.
Yeah. See. So this is Srimati Radharani. It's not that Radharani is separate from Krishna. This is introduction of Chaitanya Charitamrita, okay? How much cool stuff there is in Chaitanya Charitamrita. You should read Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's really nice. I thought it's about Lord Chaitanya only. No, all the stuff is in there. It's not that Radharani is separate from Krishna. Radharani is also Krishna. For there is no difference. I'm not making this up. This is Prabhupada wrote this, okay? So there's no difference between the energy and the energetic. And without the energetic, there is no energy. Similarly, without Radha, there is no meaning to Krishna. And without Krishna, there is no meaning to Radha. Because of this, the Vaishnava philosophy, first of all, pays obeisances to and worships the internal pleasure potency of the Supreme Lord. First of all, before you even come close to Krishna, you worship Radha. All right, I'm going to talk about a little bit talk about technical stuff, okay? Try to follow along. This is important. This framework is important to understand. And if you understand this framework, so many questions that people ask, they get resolved by understanding this framework. This is very important philosophical framework. And there's not too many words on the screen. It's really just 2 words. There are 2 distinct platforms of understanding. One is called Tattva, the existential truth. The other is called Rasa, flavor of loving exchange. Remember these 2 words. Tattva Vichar and Rasa Vichar. Okay? So not understanding the distinction between these 2 platforms causes so much confusion. And understanding them and their distinction answers so many questions. And we're talking about like advanced questions, okay? For example, I'll give you an example. It is said, have you heard this? You might have heard this, that Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. Have you heard this? You might have heard this. Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. And then who is that Krishna in Dwarka? Who killed Kans? He went to Mathura, he killed Kans, then he went to Dwarka, he killed so many demons. They say that Krishna in Dwarka is Vasudeva Krishna, not the threefold bending form Shyamsundar Krishna. Does Krishna ever play flute in Dwarka? No. So then, but is he Krishna? But if you say he doesn't leave Vrindavan, then what are you talking about? But you understand, is it an expansion only? You see, you have to understand this. Which expansion? And yet we know that Krishna, Rama, Narsimha, they're all the same person, isn't it? Sorry, how do you say it? In it.
We understand.
It's the same person. We know that, he's wearing a different dress, but the same person. So on the platform of Tattva, they are identical. But on the platform of rasa, the platform of variety of flavor and loving, or the flavor of loving exchange, they're distinct and they're different. That's important. So yes, he doesn't live in Vrindavan, and yes, he does. From platform of Tattva, he does live in Vrindavan. Because that's also Krishna. Rama is also Krishna, Nrsimhadev also Krishna. When a devotee of Nrsimhadev sees the form of Krishna, he says, oh, that's my Nrsimhadev. And when a devotee of Krishna sees Nrsimhadev form, he says, oh, that's my Krishna. Why? Because the same person, just wearing a different dress. That's their love. Their love is toward that form. So once you have this resolve, Tattva and Rasa, then so many things get answered. Lots of these confusions. Okay? Try to apply this when other confusions pop up. You'll find it actually works really well. So coming back to Radha and Krishna, okay? Is Krishna the predominator, being the ultimate Purusha, male? Or is Srimati Radharani dominating the equation? From the point of view of Tattva, right? We know that Krishna is Shaktiman and Radharani is the Shakti. The sunlight exists because of the sun. The energy exists because of the energetic. Similarly, Radharani is the energy of the Lord. In that sense, Tattva sense, Krishna predominates. Very clear, no issues. But now, when we come to the land of Vrindavan, where rasa, the exchange of love, is the most prominent feature, not the ontological, philosophical tattva. That is outside. You leave it outside now. Of course, always keep it. Then we see clearly who predominates? Srimati Radharani. By far. She predominates by far. She is the queen. Queen is more important. I mean, you're in England, you know for many years. Queen has a power. Even in chess, the queen has a real moving power, right? She's the Vrindavaneshwari. The king may think, yeah, I can move in any direction. The queen can move in any direction as far as the whole board allows. Srimati Radharani predominates. Her Royal Majesty Srimati Radharani. Yes. Our Lady of Vrindavan. Our Lady of Mercy. Srimati Radharani. She controls Krishna. Krishna is known as Madan Mohan, the one who can charm Cupid. Radharani is known as Madan Mohan Mohini. She charms Krishna, makes him dance, and he will do anything to please her. That is her supremacy. This is her dominion. As Vrindavaneshwari, she is the ruler, the one who calls the shots. This picture shows that. I mean, who's doing her hair over here? Right? Not a hairdresser. Krishna becomes a hairdresser for her. Here, what is he doing? Massaging her feet. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela. I'm not quoting my own stuff. Please look it up yourself. From Krishna's own statement, it appears that Radharani is the queen of Vrindavan and that Krishna is simply her, not even servant, decoration. Simply her decoration. Prabhupada says this. Amazing. You can see how Prabhupada's heart is giving us so much rasa. You thought, oh, Prabhupada didn't talk about this. You didn't read it. That's all. You can read it. There are numerous indications that Srila Prabhupada himself is very dear to Radharani. And look who is here. This slideshow I made years ago. It was this original picture I used. And now I get to show it in London. You say, Shri Radha Landanesha, Shri Radha Landanesha ki. I can't believe I get to show this slide in London. Amazing. So this is, you can see there's a natural crown. This crown came with Radharani. And their dresses built in. Prabhupada is very dear to Radharani. Right from the beginning. That's Prabhupada's father, that's him as a little child. Srila Prabhupada's father used to entertain a lot of sadhus, lots. And what is the one prayer that he would ask these Vaishnava sadhus? Bless my son that he becomes a dear servant of Srimati Radharani. Isn't that amazing? This is the blessing that he would ask for. Bless my son that he became a servant of Srimati Radharani. Srila Prabhupada took initiation from whom? Do you know the name of these? He has another name. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has another name. Many names he has. Yeah, he has a title Srila Prabhupada, but he has a name also. His name, you might have heard it when we say the mantras during like Pushpanjali. It says, Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daita. That's his name. Varshabhanavi Devi Daita Das. That's his actual name. When his, before name. So his name is Varshabhanavi Devi Daita Das. Varshabhanavi is who? Vrishabhanu's daughter. See, Varshabhanavi means of Vrishabhanu. The daughter of Vrishabhanu. Varshabhanavi Devi, Radharani, Daita Das, one who serves her, who gives. See? So, that's another connection. His Guru Maharaj is directly servant of Radharani, so he's coming in that line. See? More indications. There's a special spot where Krishna officially declares that he's a slave to Srimati Radharani. I'm your servant, I'm your slave. To his love. And he bowed down to her holy feet in Radha Pada Seva. This spot is the Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan. And this spot here, where Srila Prabhupada prepared to come to the US, to come to the West, and he wrote, started writing Srimad Bhagavatam, and he was doing so much of that tapasya. In the small room, you can still see that room in Radha Damodar temple. That's the spot where Krishna declared his surrender. So you can see the intimate connection with Srila Prabhupada and Radharani. When Prabhupada was on the boat to America, he wrote a poem which he said, My dear brothers, you cannot get success in Krishna consciousness unless you worship who? Radharani, Srimati Radharani. He writes that in a poem form. He's meditating on her and he writes about her. So Srila Prabhupada's depth of intimacy is incredible. He has full access. Then Srila Prabhupada received his most cherished instructions to print books from his guru, where they're standing on a very important spot. See if you can recognize that in the painting. It's kind of hard. Very important spot. Anybody guess where that is? That's right. Radha Kund is where it happened. His most important instructions were given in front of Radha Kund. Right here, Radha Kund. And we know the most sacred space in the universe is Sri Radha Kund. It's Radha Kund. So once, when the Diwan, I think I said this story, so I say it again. The Diwan of Bharatpur came with his family to Radhakund. They were circumambulating the Radhakund with Danvat Pranam. You know how you do that? You take Danvat Pranam and then you put your fingertips out there, then you mark that spot, and then you stand up and you put your feet there, you make another Danvat Pranam. Like that, you do parikrama, not walking. Danvat Pranam parikrama. And they're bowing down and they're praying to Radhakund. And one of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's disciples, they came, Paramananda Prabhu, he said, Guru Maharaj, just look how much devotion this Diwan's family have. It's like a very royal family, you know. How much devotion to Radharani they have. And Saraswati Thakur replied, no. Their vision is different from ours. They worship Krishna. He's saying, I think that's a bad thing. He's saying, they worship Krishna and respect Radha because she is dear to him. Well, what's wrong with that? That's actually not right. But we, then he points to himself, we Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we are concerned only with Radharani. We worship her. And we serve Krishna only because she desires him. That's the only reason. Because she seems to like him, so okay. Without her, we have no connection to Krishna. We don't care for Krishna. I mean, it's a poetic way of this. That's the gift of Mahaprabhu. This Radha first vision. It's important. This is what we are. Those who worship Vishnu are called Vaishnavas. Those who worship Krishna are called Karshnayas. You hardly hear that word. Those who worship Radha are called Gaudiyas. We are Radha worshippers. Okay? Srila Prabhupada explains. This is lecture. It says, so Radha Krishna philosophy is a very great philosophy. It is to be understood in the liberated stage. Radha Krishna philosophy is not to be understood in the conditioned stage. But when we worship Radha Krishna in our conditional stage, actually we worship Lakshmi Narayan. You have seen this picture, this Vidhi Marg and Rag Marg. Radha Krishna worship is on the platform of pure love, and Lakshmi Narayan worship is on the platform of regulative principles. When we are engaged by regulative principles in worship of Radha Krishna, that is called Vidhi Marg. And actually when you're on the love platform, then that is called Rag Marg. So we do it externally. We try to bring out the bhav. But when the bhav becomes very solid and consistent and thick, then it is called Rag. So without Vidhi Marg, if anyone wants to learn the Rag Marg immediately, that is foolishness. You can't jump and pretend you are there. You can't pretend mentally that I am at the level of worshipping Radha Krishna. I know what's going on. No, we don't. We do not. If you want to learn Rag Marg immediately, that is what? Foolishness. That is foolishness. He said it twice. Nobody can pass MA examination without going through the regulative principles of primary schools and colleges. Can't go from kindergarten, nursery school to on the master's degree. No. Therefore, I mean to say, indulge in discussion with Radha Krishna so easily. That's why it's so rare to find these. You have to really scour through all the works of Srila Prabhupada to find this. That's why it's rare. I don't indulge so much so easily. But he still gives us some glimpses. We can celebrate that today and tomorrow. Okay? But in general, we don't go out and discuss in public. You know, stop some guy in the tube. Hey, can I tell you about Radha Krishna and Radha Kund and the intimate pastimes? What are you talking about? Srila Prabhupada says, all glories to Radharani. Radhe Jai Jai Madhava Daita. We sang this. She's so dear to Krishna. Krishna, everyone is trying to love Krishna, but Krishna is trying to love somebody. Now, how great she is. Just try to understand. Everyone, the whole world, the whole universe, all living entities, they're trying to love Krishna. Krishna Prem. Lord Chaitanya describes Prema Pumartho Mahan. Was anybody there at yesterday's class? Yes, we were there, right? We had a few members from yesterday. We talked about the 4 Purusharthas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Prema Pumartha Mahan, the greatest Purushartha is Prem. And Rupa Goswami described that you are distributing Krishna Prem. So Krishna Prem is so valuable, but Krishna is after Radharani. Just see how Radharani is great. Just try to understand the greatness of Radharani. Therefore, she is so great, and we have to offer our respect. Nectar of Devotion, Prabhupada gives us more clues. Instead of offering obeisances to Krishna, devotees offer obeisances to his compassionate nature. Like, instead of offering to Krishna. I mean, this whole equation, Krishna is really getting the short end of the stick here. Actually, because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is very difficult to approach him. But the devotee is taking advantage of his compassionate nature, who is a person, represented by Radharani. Always pray to Radharani for Krishna's compassion. So, how do you start a story typically? Yes, that's correct. Once upon a time. Somebody said, once upon a time. Once upon a time, the sacred month of Bhadra. You hear about this word Bhadra, right? Bhadra Purnima coming out. This month is Bhadra. The night sky was bathed in the soft glow of a half moon. Half moon means Ashtami, half. Okay. It's tomorrow. And the gentle breeze carried the sweet fragrance of Kadamba flowers along the banks of the holy Yamuna. The birds are singing softly, melodious kirtans. The birds are singing kirtans in anticipation of an event destined to change the course of the universe. In the quiet village of Raval, Radharani is born in Raval. You know that?
She's called Raval, right?
Yeah. She is the main one in Raval. Maharaj Vrishabhanu, the noble king of the cowherd community, walked toward the Yamuna to take his midday bath, middle of the day. As he approached the river, sudden radiance illuminated the entire bank. You can see it's like brighter than 1,000 suns rising at the same time, and yet soothing and cooling to the heart. So startled, like, where is this brilliance coming from? He looked up and he saw this extraordinary lotus flower floating gracefully on the waters. This is not an ordinary lotus. Its petals were glimmering with a golden hue and brilliance, and from within the lotus emanated a divine aura. It seemed to invite the soul closer to the eternal realm of Goloka. So his hands are trembling, and his heart was surging with devotion. Vrishabhanu Maharaj, he stepped closer and closer. He's looking, what's going on? And inside the lotus, nestled gently like a priceless jewel, the most enchanting baby girl. Her complexion was shimmering with a soft golden effulgence. Her limbs were delicate and graceful. Her form more beautiful than the mind could ever conceive. And a flood of bliss surged through Vrishabhanu. And he immediately understood this is not an ordinary child. She was divinely sent. To him, he was overwhelmed with joy, tears streaming down his face as he gently lifted the baby into his arms. He carried her closer to his heart, and he returned home, his steps light as if carried by transcendence itself. When Mother Kirtida, his virtuous and saintly wife, beheld the baby, she saw, wow, her heart melted with boundless love. She immediately arranged for auspicious samskaras, the sacred rites of purification, bathing, and blessings, and donated thousands of cows adorned with gold and silk to the brahmanas. And together they named this child Radha, she who worships the Lord perfectly. But soon something unusual had happened. There's a mystery. Days had passed. Yeah. But baby Radha kept her eyes closed, gently. But it's so soft, but they're closed. And you think any moment she'll open them. She's breathing, she's smiling, she's cooing, but eyes did not open. And they're thinking, could our precious daughter be blind? And it's then that this wonderful sadhu, who's always carrying a veena, he doesn't even walk, he just flies everywhere. Narad Muni, Devarshi Narad, he arrived. He's glowing with spiritual brilliance, and his veena is slung over his shoulder. I think some people sling their guitar, he slings his veena over his shoulder. And he came and he saw, wow, this is matter of concern, of course. And he instructed Vrishabhanu, there's a solution to this. Arrange a grand celebration for this divine child's birthday appearance. Invite all the residents of Raval and Gokul. Especially Gokul, make sure they come. And especially your dear friend, Nanda Maharaj and his family, they have to come. They cannot cancel this one. And by the Lord's mercy, by the Lord's will, all these mysteries will be revealed. So following Nanda's guidance, the preparations began. Beautiful garlands were woven and conches were blown, and everyone sang Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe. Jai Radhe!
Jai Radhe!
Jai Radhe!
Jai Radhe!
Is filling the whole village, the sound of Jai Radhe and conch shells. And the entire village was adorned with colorful flags and fragrant flowers, as if the very earth herself was rejoicing. So on the blessed day of the festival, these Braja residents had gathered, and among the honored guests we had Nanda Maharaj, Mother Yashoda, Mother Rohini, and the precious jewels of their hearts, playful toddlers, Balram and Krishna. They're toddling. Is that a verb? I don't know. They're toddlers. What do? They toddle. They look very cute. I don't think that's a real word though. Okay. And Yashoda embraced her dear friend Kirtida, and just looking, wow, what a beautiful girl. Oh, Kirtida, such a... This keeps on muting themselves. Oh, Kirtida, such grace, such radiance. Surely this child is destined for the most extraordinary purposes. Meanwhile, this little dark blue-covered boy, very cute, Sri Krishna, he's barely able to walk, by the way. Okay, he can't walk steadily on his tiny lotus feet. He's crawling. Crawling he can do very quickly. Tuck, 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 tuck. Joyfully across the courtyard. You can imagine how sweet that scene is. He can crawl faster than the mothers can run. Especially when the mother's angry. Like, ding, ding, ding. His ankle bells are jingling. His little ankle bells too, you know. You can just imagine the baby fat, so soft, his little ankle bells, and his feet. You know, babies have this fragrance. You can imagine Krishna's fragrance. Krishna's so fragrant that you could smell his fragrance for like miles. Baby fragrance. There's a flower called baby breath. You know, it looks like baby breath. It's so sweet. And Krishna, drawn by an irresistible attraction, only known to the soul, he made his way toward the cradle where baby Radharani is sleeping. With tender curiosity, pulled himself up. So even pulling himself is hard, you know, he's pulling himself. And resting his tiny hands on the edge of the cot, his dark lotus-like eyes gaze into her serene, closed face. And at the very instant, something miraculous happened. Radharani's delicate eyelids slowly fluttered open, like two blossoming, you know how the flowers blossom, two blossoming lotus petals greeting the first rays of dawn. And where did her gaze first fall? Upon no one else but Sri Krishna. The entire courtyard fell silent, as if time itself had paused to witness this divine moment. Radharani's very first sight in this world was her eternal beloved, Shyam Sundar. It was as though she declared silently to the universe, I have not come to see this world. I have come only to see Krishna. Tears of ecstasy streamed down the cheeks of Vrishabhanu Maharaj, Kirtida Devi. They could see the beauty of her eyes now. Their hearts overflowed with gratitude. realizing the divine purpose behind Narada Muni's instructions. The Radhika was not blind. She simply had no interest in seeing anything but Krishna. So this enchanting pastime reveals the eternal truth celebrated by the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. That's us. Radharani is the supreme goddess of devotion, the original energy of love, the sole gateway to Krishna's heart. That's why the mantra we chant on the beads, not Krishna, 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 Krishna. What's the mantra? Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Remember from now on, every time you say Hare, this is that Radharani in the cradle who is opening her eyes to Krishna. This is that Radharani in Vrindavan who's bossing around Krishna. She is the main boss. Remember, okay. So on this appearance day, tomorrow devotees will meditate deeply on this divine exchange. This is what we should do tomorrow. Start practicing today. Oh Srimati Radharani, just as you opened your eyes only for Krishna, please open our eyes to see only Him in our life. Bless us with the devotion, bless us with longing, and place us in the service of your lotus feet. We want to follow you. We want to serve you. So how do we as ISKCON devotees, how do we celebrate Janmashtami internally in our hearts? Of course, outside we know how to celebrate. No problem. We know how to arrange so many things. But internally also we should celebrate. Celebration shouldn't only be external, otherwise exhausting. You should not feel exhausted after a festival. Why? If you're connected internally and celebrate internally, you should feel energized after a festival. If you feel exhausted, that means we failed with the internal connection. So there's different ways we can connect internally. 4 ways, okay? We go over this. Reflect on how we can and should always run to the shelter of Jagan Mata, the mother of the universe, Srimati Radharani, for special mercy to overcome all obstacles in our spiritual success. Reflect, she is Jagan Mata. Have you ever heard anyone call Radharani Jagan Mata? Anytime? No, typically not, right? Prabhupada calls her that. Can you close that door? Yes, so I can see. Sri Prabhupada calls her Jagan Mata in the lecture that he gave here in London. On which day? Radhaastami. 1973. Okay. So reflect and deeply chant Hare in the first opening name of Mahamantra. Deeply chant Hare and think of her. The feeling of helplessness, you cry out. She is the supreme energy, Devi Prakriti. So our success will not come from our own energy. She is the energy. Remember that. So when some devotees you see there, even after doing so much, they're so happy and energetic. That energy is coming from Srimati Radharani. They have figured out how to tap into that. We have to figure out how to do it. We have to ask them. And if they're not going to explain, you can hang out with them to see what's the secret. It's called devotee association. Find those devotees who are happy all the time. Find the devotees who get energized after doing seva. They're there. You just look around. All right? And we know in Vrindavan, Srimati Radharani, she rules. She's the main boss. So she is in charge. So why should we approach anyone else? See, we're supposed to worship in Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, Krishna also is not in charge. She's in charge. Think about, second, Srila Prabhupada. We talk about different ways how he exemplifies devotion to her. Every quote I put on this slide is from him. It's important. Srila Prabhupada is our connection to Srimati Radharani because we're ISKCON devotees. ISKCON is his movement, his organization. Remember how Prabhupada is very dear to Srimati Radharani from the very beginning. He's been gaining her blessings from his own father and from his own Guru Maharaj. Don't forget that. Then next, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. how even the Lord loses himself when he takes on the mood of Srimati Radharani. This is a whole separate discussion. When Krishna is eager to feel what Radharani feels, he turns golden and he becomes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we just think about how he has lost him. You see, Radharani, when she comes here, she doesn't act crazy. She knows how to keep it together. Even though she has so much love for Krishna. She doesn't go all nuts. But when Krishna tries that, he loses it. He can't control it. Yeah, here, you take it, here, I'm giving free love. He acts totally mad. Like, what's wrong with this person? I mean, he looks very beautiful, but why is he giving away everything for free? He can't help himself. He doesn't know how to handle all that love, so he has to give it away. Krishna can't handle it, Radharani can. That's why she's the boss. And fourth, one thing very important to remember. We need to be careful in our approach to Krishna consciousness. And our first priority is to avoid offenses. Steer clear of offensive attitudes in our heart. Big ones and little ones. Try not to get sucked into offensive mentality. To see devotees as ordinary people. Try to find how bad they are. How to magnify their bad things. Everybody has bad things. Everybody has good things. Try to see the good in someone. Try to give them benefit of doubt. Oh, he told me this. Definitely he doesn't like me anymore. He hates me. No, maybe he meant something else. Be more generous. Don't go down the path of very easily being offended. Because then we end up making offenses. It's not easy. There's a whole big science behind this. Our acharyas teach in a lot of detail. Just mentioning it here, okay? That's a separate course that I do. It's like a 10-day course. That's separate. But we need to be careful of aparadha because that is against Radha. Apa means against. We don't go against Radha. Right? So, note how Radha is also the name of Radharani. And so, how can we go against her? Only when we avoid offenses can we gain access to her full mercy. Okay? Very close to the end now. Okay? Lord Chaitanya famously prays. This is famous prayer of Lord Chaitanya. This is Madhya Lila 1380. He says, I'm not a Brahmana. I am not a Kshatriya. I'm not a Vaishya. I'm not a Shudra. I'm not a Brahmachari. I'm not a householder, Vanaprastha or Sannyasi. I'm none of these. I identify myself only as the servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, the maintainer of the gopis. He is like an ocean of nectar and he is the cause of universal transcendental bliss. He is existing always with brilliance. So he says, Gopi bhartu pada kamalayor dasa dasa dasanudas. The Lord of the gopis. Among the gopis, who is the main boss? Srimati Radharani. And she rules over him. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, this is our identity. Don't think I'm Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sannyasi. No, this is not our identity. Our identity first, primarily, is we're servants of Radharani. Okay? So we have to reflect on the immense magnitude of our good fortune. Especially when we're faced with despair, when you're feeling down, when you're feeling confused. Think of how glorious is our Srila Prabhupada. Amazing. Who was personally taken care of by Srimati Radharani. And how the path for us is so clearly laid out for us by him. There's no ambiguity here. If you study Prabhupada's books thoroughly and you make all the connections, every answer is there. Without ambiguity. We have to take the time to study it. Okay? So we have to have that gratitude, and filled with the gratitude, we can chant with feeling. Remember, it's hard to chant with love, but it's easier to chant with gratitude. We don't know what love is. We really don't. But gratitude, yeah, I can thank Krishna. From anywhere you can be grateful. From any state of purity, from any state of selfishness, doesn't matter. To turn on the switch of gratitude is very easy. The switch is right here. Love switch is way up there, we can't reach it. But gratitude is like this. So let's be grateful. when we chant the Lord's name, we chant with great gratitude. Let's think now of all what we watched right now, right? We saw Prabhupada's greatness, we saw Radharani's greatness, we saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's greatness, and how much they've given us, and this sweet Leela of Krishna and Radha opening her eyes. So much we got today. Put all that in one cup in your heart and just be grateful for what we got by Prabhupada's mercy. And now, with that gratitude blazing in our hearts, let's close our eyes and we'll chant Hare Krishna mantra 3 times, okay? Let's express our gratitude. Let's prepare for Radhaastami tomorrow with our full mind. We're going to chant 3 times, okay? Let's go. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Let's take a second to absorb the energy. Take a moment. Reflect on your good fortune. How lucky we are to receive the mercy of Srimati Radharani today, and the flood, tsunami of mercy we're going to be receiving tomorrow on Radhaastami. Srimati Radharani ki Jai, Shri Radha Gokulananda ki Jai, Shri Radha Landaneshwar ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Gokulanande. Thank you all very much for your kind attention and your valuable time this evening, and for welcoming me with so much love and warmth. I really appreciate this opportunity to share what little I've read from Prabhupada's books. I'm still exploring. He's written a lot, so I'm still going through them. But whatever I could come up with, I'm sharing with you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And thank you, dear devotees online, for joining. We have so many devotees from all over the world who joined. Obeisances to all of you as well. Hare Krishna. All right.
Any questions or comments?
Yes, any questions or comments? Yes, Sunny Prabhu.
Thank you so much for the class, firstly. Learned loads to digest. Can you clarify the 9th offence for us about to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name?
Yeah.
I need to know more about them, especially when preaching to people that.
Yes.
Good question.
Very good question. It is an offense to instruct a faithless person on the glories of the holy name. Why? When we go out on the street, many people assume are faithless, right? And I'm going to tell them, hey, we have this thing, we chant Hare Krishna. And if you try it, if you chant, you'll feel at peace. It'll be very nice. And we tell that all the time to complete random strangers coming out of Tesco or whatever. We just tell them. Is that an offense? No. Then how you reconcile this offense? It says to instruct a faithless person on the glories of the holy name. Okay, so the glories of the holy name are very dear to us. The glories of the holy name means this is Krishna himself. Okay, and what is the risk of instructing a faithless person? One is that they could offend the holy name by scoffing at it. Well, when you say the glory, you're saying this is so great because of this and this and this reason. You don't need to say that. You see, because the glories of the holy name are dear to our heart. They're very intimate. It's like we're supposed to hide it almost. Now, if a person wants to know more, oh, this is cool, can you please tell me more? Then you can tell, because that person now has a little bit of faith. Now that person doesn't qualify as a faithless person. That person qualifies as an innocent person. Here the faithless person means one who's openly antagonistic and offensive. Those people we want to avoid, because they end up offending the name, they offend the message, they offend the devotees, and so on. Also for practical reasons. We don't go after those people. Why? One is a waste of time. Right? If you're picking mangoes from a tree and there's like green, unripe mangoes and all, you know there's going to be bitter. But the ripe ones are around here. You say, no, mara upar ho jao." That's dumb. Why? For no reason. First of all, you break your neck, try and get that one. It's dangerous. Second, it's no use. It's not ripe yet. It's not ready yet. And third, there's so many low-hanging fruits. Why wasting your time? So for 3 reasons we don't do it. Practical reason, as well as to protect our heart from offense, to protect them from offense, and so on. They're already being so offensive. We don't want to be the vehicle of their accelerated path to hell. Those are some of the reasons. But the moment they show any glimmer of hope and innocence, then we openly help them out to the extent. But we have to, once you understand the context of these offenses, then we can gauge how to approach the situation. So this is the context of that offense. Is that clear?
Of course.
Thank you. Great question. And it's a good question for this because we want to avoid aparadha. Aparadha, against Radha. So thank you. Yeah, it's not outside the realm of what we discussed. It's a good question. Anybody else have any? It doesn't have to be a question, be a comment, something that you know or you want to share about Radharani that you'd like to share. Yes.
Yeah, you said that in the Gaudiya Vaishnavism, Gaudiya Vaishnavas, Radharani has such a special place in the movement. So I was just wondering, the name of the society is, Krishna consciousness.
Yes.
So why did Prabhupada not think of maybe including Radha in the name?
Yeah. Yes. The Prabhupada, in one of the slides I mentioned and showed, Prabhupada said we don't talk too openly about Radharani, although that's our main boss. See? Sometimes the CEOs of very big companies, after a while they make somebody else a CEO, but they remain the chairman of the board. And so people deal with that person because the CEO wants to be private, needs their space and privacy and whatnot. Radharani is like that. The CEO is Krishna, but she's the boss. You deal with him. I don't know, it's just a kind of a joke. The thing is, the relationship between Radha and Krishna is hard for most people to understand, even devotees. But at least we know to approach it with respect. We at least we know to understand there's a supreme personality of Godhead, and that's the internal energy. It's not just an ordinary boy and girl having a dance. It's not that at all. Yes, it's beautiful, it's romantic, but that's not what it's about. But it's hard to explain that right away. And we don't do it because the moment we project that, then it gets problematic. So that's why in the name, in the preaching, we don't do it. But at the same time, the deities are there. On the cover of Krishna book, it's not Krishna alone, it's Radha Krishna. I'll invite you to read the preface to the Krishna book. It's very interesting. It answers your question in a subtle way. In that, Prabhupada writes, someone takes this book, they may wonder, who is that boy on the cover? The beautiful person playing a flute. And who is that girl with him? His girlfriend. Who is that? Then he goes on to explain a lot about Krishna. He never answers the second question. He doesn't even answer it. That in itself will give you a clue. It's meant to be just left as a question for now. You see, Prabhupada was not absent-minded about this thing. He's writing a preface to his most important book. He didn't leave it out by mistake. He left it as a rhetorical question. Why? To be continued. First read a lot, become devotee, then we'll teach you. That's politely. That's important. That's why he doesn't put her out front in that way. See, just so it doesn't confuse. Otherwise, yeah. Once you become Krishna, when you start going in, then you get a better understanding and things become clearer. So that's his strategy. That's the strategy of all our Gaudiya Acharyas. See? So Prabhupada said, I don't discuss so much openly. Because people take it for granted, they take it the wrong way. And there are people who do it the wrong way. And they form organizations around that misunderstanding. They're called Apasampradayas. They form lineages. So the men dress up as gopis, and then they do rasa dance as if they're gopis or something. And then after they get tired, then they go to the bar and they smoke and drink. And they get knocked out. And then next weekend, do gopis again. What's the difference between that and the discotheque? But they call it a lineage. They call it a parampara, sampradaya. So it can easily get rotten in this world. So we preserve the sanctity of that relationship and the intimacy. But at the same time, we worship it too. See? So, yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, thank you so much for a wonderful presentation here. This is a question that I always wondered. You know, at our Mena, you got Radhaji holding her hand like this with the tulsi in the middle. What's the reason for that?
Yes. So in the manner we have Radharani holding her hand as she has tulsi leaf. Yes. It's a very good question. What is the significance of Radharani holding tulsi leaf? So Tulsi Devi is very dear to Krishna. And whoever is dear to Krishna, Radharani keeps very close to her. Right? Tulasi, Krishna, Priyasi. Priyasi means very dear, the most dear to Krishna, very dear to Krishna. And you worship Krishna through Tulsi. It said, without Tulsi, Krishna doesn't accept any offering. Bina Tulsi Prabhu ek nahi mani. Without Tulsi, Krishna doesn't accept anything at all. No matter how nicely you made it. So Radharani keeps Tulsi very handy. How much more handy than keeping it right in your hand? Right? So she's basically what she's doing, she's saying like this, and she's saying, follow me for more handy tips. It's a hand. These are called handy tips. If you follow Radharani, you'll get all the handy tips of pleasing Krishna. You up right near that one. That was a good one. Thank you for setting me up. You know how people write, follow me for more handy tips, and then they become follow, subscribe, and like. Subscribe to Radharani, like.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Then you'll be very successful. A lot of hits, a lot of views. Anyone else? Yes, bro.
First of all, thank you for such an amazing nectar. Question is, how did Krishna and Radharani came? As in, like, were they there from the infinite time? Was Radharani an expansion of Krishna? And how we came? Like, are we an expansion of them together?
Yes, good question. This is an ontological question, existential question, good philosophical question. How did Radharani come about? How did Radha Krishna come about? How did we come about? When did we come about? How? What's going on? I have no idea. These are good questions. When we say when or how, especially when you say when, the word when has an implied temporal factor. When I say temporal, it means time related. Like, when are you going to start speaking? When is it going to happen? I'm getting late. Or when is the train going to come? It's based on before and after. Like you're saying, what happened before? What is after? The chicken or the egg? Right? Eternal question. The temporal factor is an artifact of the material world only. Time does not exist in the spiritual world. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains, in the spiritual world, time is conspicuous by its absence. Very interesting way of saying. I'm not saying it's not there, it's just conspicuous by its absence. Things happen sequentially over there. This happened before, this happened after. But because the time factor is not there, it's very hard for us to comprehend. Because it's not that something was never there and then it came into being. In the spiritual world, nothing comes into being. We're always there. Everything is always there. There's always Leela and play and interactions going on, but nothing comes into being. Sometimes it's visible, sometimes not visible, but it's always there. And it always has been there, always will be there. It's like saying energy. When did energy come into being? Like, for example, you turn on this switch. So the moment you note the time you turn on the switch, that's when the light came into being, right? Before that, there was no light. That's not true. This energy that's visible here is a transformation of the electrical energy that's flowing through there. So that energy was existing before the light was turned on, right? So say the electrical energy is being generated by a hydroelectric dam. In Kenya, we have, is it a dam? Kindaruma Dam. Remember Kindaruma Dam? Anyway, we have these dams in Kenya. They have hydroelectric plant. So that energy, electric energy, before it became electric energy, it was potential energy because the water is on top and it falls down. The potential energy converts into electrical energy, which converts into light energy. Energy is never created or destroyed. You must have learned that in physics, isn't it? Even this world you see, it is always there. Same thing with spirit, because energy is always there. What about us? I mean, we're children of God, right? It's true, we're all children of God. So children come after parents typically, right? Always. The father is always older than the son. Father and son cannot be twins. Sometimes it looks like that, but the father comes before the son. So God comes before us, right? Isn't it? I mean, that's the general, that means there's a time when we didn't exist. And then there's a time when we came into being. And yet, what does Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita? Chapter 2, text number 12. Anybody have that handy? Chapter 2, text number 12. Natvevaham jatu nasam natvam neme janadhipa na chaiva na bhavishyama sarve vayam atah param. He says, there was never a time, now he's in the battlefield, he's pointing to all the kings. He said, there was never a time when I did not exist. Oh, that's cool. Nor you, Arjuna, really. Nor all these kings. And there never will be a time when we will stop existing. When I read that verse, I fell off the chair. Wow! You know what this means? This means that we and Krishna are twins. We're the same age. Krishna is not older than us. What? Yes. Because we have always existed. If you've always existed, how can there be a time when you didn't exist? So your question is valid, but it makes sense when you think in terms of the material world, because we see things, you have a birthday, before the birthday you weren't there. But as souls, we have no birthdays because we did not exist. We always existed. So our individuality is eternal. In the purport of that verse, Prabhupada explains it very nicely. That Radha Krishna is always there, eternally, beginningless, endless, anadi, ananta. We are also anadi, ananta. We are individually separate. It's not that we were expanded after Radharani and Krishna expanded. No. In one sense, they're parents because they fulfill our needs and desires. But we always existed. We are Nitya. Nitya means eternal. This is a very important verse from Kathopanishad, from the Vedas. Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. This is the existential axiomatic truth of the Vedas. What does it mean? Nitya means eternal. Nitya, nityanam. So the category of eternal beings, there are many nityanam. Nityanam is plural, and nitya means singular. Okay, so now there are many eternals. Among these eternals, there's one special one who's different. Only one, not two. Only one of them is different. Chetanas chetananam. Among the category of living, cognizant beings, there's one that's different. Well, what makes him different? Eko bahunam yo vidadhati kaman. One fulfills the desires of the others. He architects whatever they want. He builds universes. He facilitates things. He creates systems. He does what it takes to fulfill the desires of these guys. That's the categorical difference. But there's no timing here. They always existed. But this is the difference between them. That's why this is fundamental truth to understand spiritual existence. We'll always be eternal. We'll always be individual, distinct, having personalities, distinct always. You'll always be there. And you always were there. You don't know what you were in the past life. Krishna knows. That's the point of spiritual life. That things become clearer. Radha Krishna eternal, we're eternal. This time factor that we're stuck in is just a dream. So we just have to move toward Krishna. We're on a boat with Prabhupada. We have to row it, right? Because we sustain the boat of ISKCON. You row the boat. Row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily. Life is but a dream. It's a dream. We sing this in kindergarten. These are truths, eternal truths. Yes. Is that okay, Prabhu? Yes. Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Yes, Prabhu.
Wonderful lecture. Thank you very much. The depiction of the relationship with Krishna and Radha, we don't see the same magnitude in Ram and Sita. Okay.
Ram and Sita, yes,
So
yes.
can you shed some light on that?
Sure. It's a great question. The magnitude of the romance and intimacy, the sweetness, the jokes, the adventures, romantic adventures in particular, so colorful and so rich in Radha and Krishna. But in Ram and Sita, you don't see so much.
There is still.
It's there, but not so much. There's some, not to the extent that Radha Krishna. And certainly not to the extent of Krishna and the gopis. But let's see Radha Krishna. There's a reason, again, it's about rasa and what are the two platforms? Tattva. Rasa and tattva. So when you understand from the point of tattva and rasa, you separate those two components, things become very clear. Because Ram is Krishna. And Sita is an expansion of Radharani, actually. Because all the Devis in the spiritual existence, all the great Devis, they are expansions of Radharani. You see? And the great Devta like Mahadev and others, they're expansions of Krishna. So, now rasa is different. Because Krishna is Purna Purushottam, full, complete. Lord Ram is Maryada Purushottam. Maryada means boundary. He doesn't cross the boundary. And when Surpanka came to, hey, you should marry me, I'm so nice. I mean, he said, nah, I'm not interested. Maybe Surpanka, I understand it, not very, but she actually came out very pretty. She was looking like Miss Universe, Miss World combined. She was very pretty. She can do that. But Lord Ram said no. Why? I'm married. I took a vow of one wife. Hey, but your dad, he has like 3. You can also. No. I took a vow. I told you, right? And prana jaya par vachana. Gokul rita sada chali aayi. Prana jaya par vachana na jaya. So I gave a word to my wife. I'm not going to marry anybody else. 100%. But my brother, he doesn't take a vow. So she goes to Lakshman, you're also pretty hot. Okay. You want to marry me? And Lakshman is like, well, I'm married. What? Your brother said the same thing. So she goes back to Ram. He said he's married. What? Yeah, well, okay, that's fine. He's married, but his wife isn't here. My wife is right here. You know what I'm saying, right? Like she, it's okay. It's like, and you're so far away, it's okay. You get married to her. So she goes back, hey, your wife is not here. Yeah, but you'll not be happy getting married to me. What do you mean? You look pretty nice. No, it's not about that. It's not about looks. And it's not you, it's me. Have you heard that line? It's not you, it's me. It's Seinfeld. So it's like, what do you mean it's not you, it's me? Well, I am not a king here. I am a servant. My whole energy is serving Lord Ram. I have not slept even one day in like 13 years. And it's true. Lakshman did not sleep at all. He did not sleep, he did not eat. Can you imagine doing Ekadashi and Nirjal and Jagran for 13 years in a row and still be awake and fight, cut off noses? It was interesting. He said, I'm not even sleeping. Why? Because I'm serving the Lord. You will not be happy because, first of all, you will not be able to keep up with my service. Second of all, I can't be taking my eyes off the Lord. I have to protect him all the time. You see, so that won't give you any attention. You'll be so upset at me, and you'll probably turn into a demoness or something. You get angry. Sometimes they look one way and then they get angry, look different. So then she got really upset. She said, the root cause of my problem is this lady here. So she started attacking Sita, and then we know the story, right? Cut off the nose, and the town of Nasik came. Yes. Nashik, the town of Nashik in Maharashtra. It's named Nasik because her nose fell there. I'm not kidding. Yeah, like what kind of town? What kind of name? Anyway, yeah, it became a big city. So Maryada Purushottam, it's about rasa. So the Lord, even when the sages in Dandakaranya, the sages fell in love with the beauty of the Lord. They said, we want to turn into women and get married to you. Because they had the power to do that. It's like, this is the ideal husband. Any woman getting married to someone who looks like this and someone who behaves like this should be very happy. Ram's like, yeah, just wait a minute, You have perfect desire, but I'll fulfill them, but not right now, just wait. When I come as Krishna, you'll be the gopis. So then, with that patience. That's a good lesson for us to learn too, patience. Utsaha, nishchaya, dhairya. If you're patient, you can wait many years that Krishna will give you your desire. So that's the difference between, that's why it's not so much expansion, but there's still some sweetness, there's exchange, there's some jokes, there's fighting, exchange of arguments. It's very sweet between Sita and Ram. That's all there, but it's not expanded to the extent because the rasa is not designed for that. And when Lord comes Nashinga there, we see even less. She can't even approach him because he's so angry. She had to send Prahlad, you first pacify, then only I can come. Because Brahma and everybody said, Lakshmi Devi, you go help him out. He's so angry. You are his wife. No. So like that, different incarnations, different rasas. To get the full taste of the rasa, he keeps certain limitations. Rasa and tattva. Hare Krishna. Things like that, right? Thank you. Well, thank you all very much again. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you all. Well, in the last year. Hare Krishna.
Praise Madan Gopal Prabhu ki jai. Can I be Hari